You all want a soundbite. This is the third time we're going through this. I don't care. I was sent here by the people of the 3rd District of New York. I represent them, not the political class in Washington, D.C. If they want to send me home, if they think this was a fair process, if they think this is how it should be done, and if they're confident that this is a constitutional way of doing it, God bless their hearts.
Is it inevitable it happens?
Have you spoken to your colleagues to get their support?
I'm sorry?
Have you spoken to your colleagues to get their support?
No, I've never done it. This is the 3rd time we've gone through this. I didn't do it the first time. I didn't do it the second time. Not going to do it the 3rd time.
Why not whip some votes? Why not ask people?
It's not a good use of my time. Do you know what's a good use of all of our time? Is fixing the massive inflation in this country, is fixing the issues we have in our border. I went to San Diego last week. It is terrible, terrible. That's what we should be putting our energy on, not on censuring one another, expelling one another, witch hunts against the political class. Nobody cares. If this building, if this city put the effort to fixing our country the same way that they put on expelling me, we'd be in a better place. But this place is littered in political theater, and the American people are the ones paying the price.
Yeah. So that was Representative George Santos, who, it's about to play again. Sorry. Who Republicans are trying to expel. I got a clip here from crap. Why can't I think of his name? Matt Gaetz. Goodness gracious, I just totally drew a blank there. That I want you guys to hear about this entire situation, and let me know your perspective about it in the comment section. Like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button if you are new. And let's dive in.
I'd like to yield as much time as he may consume. My colleague from Florida, Mr. Gaetz.
Gentleman from Florida is recognized.
I do not believe that the Long Island crew is acting in bad faith, just exceedingly bad judgment. And here's why. Since the beginning of this Congress, there's only 2 ways you get expelled. You get convicted of a crime, or you participated in the Civil War. Neither apply to George Santos. And so I rise not to defend George Santos, whoever he is, but to defend the very precedent that my colleagues are willing to shatter. Now, let's speak to due process. Mr. Santos hasn't been convicted of anything, but we haven't even moved to expel the people who have. Mr. Bowman pled guilty to a misdemeanor for his little fire alarm stunt weeks ago. So, while the Ethics Committee is marching to throw George Santos out of Congress, they take no action as to someone who actually pled guilty to a crime? What's that all about? And then there's all this talk about, well, he could have come and testified to the Ethics Committee, and he didn't. So he had his due process. But that belies the fact that he faces a trial, and had Mr. Santos testified before the Ethics Committee, an argument could have been made that he waived any of his rights that he would have had at trial that any American would enjoy. So it was a procedural double bind that shouldn't be held against Mr. Santos as some sort of adverse inference. Let's also talk about this precedent. The fact pattern as to Mr. Santos is remarkably similar to the fact pattern of former Representative Duncan Hunter. Duncan Hunter used campaign money on girlfriends and trips and home improvements and all sorts of personal lavishes. He was indicted for those crimes and continued to serve in Congress. He pled guilty to a number of those crimes and continued to serve in Congress. He was in Congress for an additional pay period after having pled guilty to the very same things that Mr. Santos has been indicted for. And so I think it's persuasive to me that Mr. Higgins and Mr. Nels, 2 law enforcement officials with sterling reputations, are here not necessarily to defend Mr. Santos, but to defend this precedent and this due process that is being shattered. And I was struck when the author of this resolution said the quiet part out loud. He didn't try to shoehorn the expulsion of George Santos into some existing construct or precedent. He said, yep, we're making a whole new precedent. We're making whole new rules right now. But he defends that by saying that the new rules are better, that it's a higher standard, so we should just throw away everything that's happened from the first Congress to the 118th because the new precedent is more robust. The problem is it's a lower standard for due process without merit. Mr. Speaker, whatever Mr. Santos did with Botox or OnlyFans is far less concerning to me than the indictment against Senator Menendez, who's holding gold bars inscribed with Arabic on them from Egypt while he is still getting classified briefings today. But he's not getting thrown out of the Senate. He's getting classified briefings under indictment for bribery. But what? Because Santos was buying Botox and OnlyFans, we got to throw him out? If George Santos is convicted, he ought to be expelled. But until then, it is an incredibly dangerous thing for people in Washington, D.C. to substitute their judgment for the judgment of voters. Winston Churchill said that, in a democracy, people get the government that they deserve. Well, the people of Mr. Santos's district elected him. And this is not some district in rural Mississippi with one newspaper. This is New York City. And George Santos rolls in there, wins, and you know what? It's between him and his voters, him and the justice system, and the fact that the Ethics Committee has done this incredible violation of precedent will do grave damage to this institution for many years to come, because now there's no requirement of any conviction. There is a departure from the precedent from the Duncan Hunter matter and many others, and I fear what that may indicate lies ahead for the future of due process in the House of Representatives.
So yeah, you heard it there. Representative George Santos allegedly used campaign funds for OnlyFans and what else did he say? Botox, allegedly. He hasn't been convicted of it though, right? So that's my first problem. He's not convicted. And we got Republicans that are pushing for this. This ain't Democrats. These are Republicans that are trying to push another Republican out before he's actually even convicted. I got a problem with that. What happened to due process? It's the same thing that they're trying to do to Donald Trump. The same thing. Oh, well, 14th Amendment. He can't run for president. Absolutely not. We need to get him off the ballot. He's never been convicted. It's the same thing that Democrats are doing to Donald Trump. Republicans are now doing to another Republican. And let me tell y'all this. Any Republican that votes for this, I'm going to put their names on a list and let you guys know who they are. Now, this isn't like a physical threat or anything like that. Let me make that clear. But they will be voted out. They will be voted out. That's Democrat type of stuff that they do. And some people may say, yeah, Rich, but morals. This guy was buying OnlyFans with campaign money, allegedly. I don't care what he was doing, right? At the end of the day, he hasn't been convicted. That's my point. And I agree with Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz said, now, if he's convicted, okay, if he's actually convicted when the time comes, then yeah, of course, let's get rid of him. But until then, I don't want to hear anything. He's not convicted of anything. And if we really want to have a discussion about this, here, I'll let George Santos say it himself because he lays it out.
Let's talk about consistency. We have a member of Congress that earlier this year took a plea deal to obstructing a congressional hearing. That's not the plea deal he took, right? I'm kidding. He took a plea deal for pulling a fire alarm which obstructed and delayed an official hearing and proceeding on the House floor. Now, had that been any other person, had it been one of the members of the media, had it been a Republican member of Congress, we all know that person would have been charged with obstructing a congressional hearing. Just like the somewhat 140 people sitting in prison right now because of January 6th. But Jamal Bowman gets a pass. That's why today at noon, I'm going to be introducing a privilege motion for expulsion of convicted and guilty pleaded Congressman Jamal Bowman. And I stand there. I think that's consistency. Let's hold our own accountable, but let's make sure that we do it with the precedent of the House. Now, if the House wants to start different precedent and expel me, that is going to be the undoing of a lot of members of this body, because this will haunt them in the future, where mere allegations are sufficient to have members removed from office when duly elected by their people in their respective states and districts.
There you go. You ain't even kicked out Jamal Bowman. Republicans, to all of you Republican representatives who, we got to get rid of Santos. We got to get rid of Santos. Why didn't you get rid of Jamal Bowman? Why don't you have that same energy for these Democrats? Why don't you? That's my question. You got that energy towards Republicans, but not towards Democrats. That tells me something. I got a problem with that. I can't just sit back and watch this story and this whole thing play out without saying anything. I just can't, because this is just disgusting behavior to me. You got Republicans going after Republicans for something that they didn't even go after a Democrat for. Why? Why? Because the guy allegedly bought some OnlyFans with campaign funds? Well, you have a Democrat who's actually been convicted already. And it's recent. This isn't just like some years ago. Like, this is recent. Where's that same energy? Like, it would be different if they had already kicked Jamal Bowman out, right? It would be a little bit different. I would feel a little bit different about the situation. Just a little bit. Because at the end of the day, George Santos hasn't actually been convicted yet. These are still mere allegations. Okay? Keep that in mind. This is just allegations. He hasn't been convicted yet. Jamal Bowman already has been convicted. These aren't allegations. Convicted. And he's still serving. And as you heard Matt Gaetz there say about Duncan Hunter, he continued to serve afterwards. Now, I believe he served a jail term afterwards, but he didn't immediately get kicked out. So now all of a sudden, like, you kicked somebody out. Y'all let me know, man. Am I tweaking? Because I just see a major problem with that. And so does this person here. I don't give a crap if George Santos lied his butt off to get into Congress. If that were the standard, there wouldn't be, effing Democrat in government. I stand with Matt Gaetz and any Republican who votes to expel Santos but didn't vote to censure Adam Schiff gets voted the F out. I agree with this. I stand with Matt Gaetz. And any Republican that votes to expel George Santos needs to be voted out. Needs to be voted out. You're not a Republican. You're not a Republican. You pushed to get rid of George Santos, but not Jamal Bowman. That only helps Democrats. And listen, I hear, because I know some folks are going to say, well, Rich, he ethics, morals, that whole argument. I get it. Do Democrats display that same thing too, though? When's the last time you saw a Democrat actually care about morals or ethics? And some people could say, well, Rich, you don't want to stoop. Listen, I'm trying to win. I'm trying to win. You guys remember the statement that I've made in previous videos. I said, you play the game to win. And once you win, you make sure the game never has to be played again. You're not going to win by caring too much about ethics. And at the end of the day, George Santos isn't even convicted. So I don't even believe that's a great argument. Morals and ethics. I don't even believe that's a great argument. He's not even convicted. These are allegations at this point. Allegations. So first off, I don't even believe that's a good argument. But even if you do want to make that argument, no Democrat has ever displayed that. And at the end of the day, I'm trying to win. This isn't conducive to winning. Republicans going after Republicans is not conducive to winning. Now, once we win, yeah, we can talk about morals and ethics and getting back to it, right? But you have to win in order to get there. It's like, I see it as like the whole abortion argument, right? Planting your flag on the abortion hill right now only puts more lives at risk. Planting your flag on the moral hill right now only creates more immoral people being in Congress, right? Because you never will win the game. You never are going to win. You are never going to be in a position in order to change the rules or affect some actual change in the grand scheme of things. You're never going to be in position once you plant that flag. You're just not. If Republicans start kicking out Republicans and Democrats don't really care about whatever they do, they're not kicking out each other. Well, now you got a whole bunch of Republicans getting kicked out and Democrats are just sitting there laughing at them. Like, y'all just lost the majority. Goofy. Now we can do whatever we want to. We got the House, the Senate, and the presidency because y'all just kicked out four. X number of each other, you know. Now y'all looking bad because now y'all kicking each other out and, you know, spilling a bunch of dirt or whatever else on each other when y'all ain't even been attacking the Democrats, spilling the tea on them, spilling the dirt on them. So that's the way that I see it. But as always, y'all let me know. Am I wrong? I don't believe I am. But y'all talk to me. Talk to me, please. This is the same stuff that Democrats are doing to Donald Trump with the 14th Amendment and trying to get him off the ballot. Ain't been convicted, but we need him off the ballot because he's been accused. There's been some allegations. That's crap to me. That's crap to me. But maybe I'm wrong. Y'all let me know in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.